Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 114. And last week I discussed what cerebral palsy is and did a quick overview, right? And this week is going to be more about 11 things to know about what cerebral palsy is. This is from the CDC, and cerebral palsy, also stylized as CP for short, is the most common motor disability in childhood. Children with CP and the families need support. It's true because there's so many different versions of cerebral palsy, right? And it being March, not only is it March Madness, but it's cerebral. See, there you go. Prime example. It's Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. I don't know about you guys, but boy, the the championship tournament this past weekend was pretty good. You know. Anyway, getting back to the main point. Cerebral palsy is a group of disorders that affects a person's ability to move and maintain posture and balance, or balance and posture, I should say. Now, I don't want to say a fun fact, but here's a fact. CP is the most common motor disability in childhood. About 1 in 345 children have been identified with CP, according to estimates of CDC, Autism and Developmental Disabilities Monitoring (ADDM) network. So yeah, and I'm gonna talk about how autism and CP, they might be might be a correlation, right? This is an interesting fact. CP is more common amongst boys and girls, and more common in black children than white children. And come to think about it, most cats that I know who have CP are all black men. You know what I mean? Like everybody I know who's black in America has probably a disabled relative, whether it's a brother, a sister, a cousin, whatever it is, uncle, whatever it is, right? I don't know the stats on this, per se, but it does make sense. Most, about 75 to 85% of children with CP have spastic CP. That means their muscles are stiff. As a result, their movements can be awkward. Spastic is basically what it means. It just means that your muscles don't retract, or they don't retract and get to the full length because for whatever reason they can't. You know what I mean? I'm not a doctor by any means, so maybe I gotta go hit up a physical therapist or something. But to get more clarification on what spastic CP is. Over half, about 50 to 60% of children with CP can walk independently. Yeah, me. And I got this running joke with people, man. It's like, yo, don't ever let the walk fool you, because my hands work fine. I mean, I don't choose violence. I'm just saying. It's another interesting fact too. Fact number 6. Many children with CP have one or more additional conditions or diseases along with CP known as co-occurring conditions. COC for short. For example, about 4 in 10 children with CP have epilepsy. About 1 in 10 have autism spectrum disorder. And this is where the interesting thing about epilepsy and autism too. How the correlation between the two of them is often linked towards or with CP. Fact number 7. Number 7. Most CP is related to brain damage that can happen before, during birth, and is called congenital CP. The following factors can also increase the risk for congenital CP: being born too small, meaning premature, or just a small birth weight; being born too early, premature; being born with a twin or multiple birth. And usually, when you look at people who have multiple, let's say you're a triplet or you're a twin, and there's a high probability of you being born with with CP just simply because there's more than one of y'all. You know what I mean? So yeah. So being conceived in vitro fertilization or another assisted reproductive technology. Having a mother who had infection during pregnancy. Infection could be anything from the common cold to all kinds. All kinds of stuff. It doesn't specify what it is. Having a connipterous, having connipterous. Anyway, that means a type of brain damage that can happen with a severe newborn jaundice that goes untreated. Basically, something that could have been prevented and treated doesn't get treated and gets worse. Number 8, small percentage of CP is caused by brain damage that happens more than 28 days after birth. This is called acquired CP. The following factors can increase the risk for acquired CP: having brain infections such as meningitis, suffering a serious head injury. Let's say your mommy and daddy dropped your ass, then boom, that's that, right? The specific cause of CP in most children is unknown. A lot of it has to. They really don't know what causes it. Why does it happen to more boys? More boys and girls. Why does it happen to one demographic? Meaning why does it happen just to black children? In general, I for one think it's the environment that us black folks are in. The diets that we have, the ages that we have in these kids, and the lack of medical supervision, or the lack of medical access. So there's that. And I'm not saying all black folk have that, because I for one didn't. I had, my parents, they had excellent medical, they had, they took care of themselves for the most part, and it just happened, right? Yeah. Number 10, CP is typically diagnosed during the first or second year after birth. If the child's symptoms are mild, it is sometimes difficult to make a diagnosis until the child is a few years older. Meaning is like, if it's mild, you won't hit certain milestones or whatnot. Whether it's learning to speak, or it's learning to stand up, or it's learning to identify objects, small objects like, blocks, Legos, that type of shit. Or your fine motor skills, like when babies want to pick things up and they want to look at it, they want to examine it, they want to do all that. Number 11, with the appropriate services and support, children and adults with CP can stay well, active, and part of the community. And there's testimonies in this, that you guys can go on the CDC and look at it. But yeah, man, I think CP, for a lot of it, has to do with the fact that a lot of people don't understand it. And there's so many different versions of CP. Me personally, going back to that reel that I made on my Instagram, on my IG page, and there's one cat, his handle is a CP Truth, and he has cerebral palsy too, and but his is a lot more severe than mine, right? It's like, well, his speech impediment, I can understand what he's saying because I'm listening to what he's saying, where he has a really hard time pronouncing things and this and this and that, but he's a really, really cool dude, man. He like, I believe he owns his own house. He has his own career. He does, he does everything else that, that quote unquote regular people do, right? And there's this clip that I did, or that I remixed, and the cat says, because he's doing an interview, and he says, well, like, women would often tell me that I'm too good looking to be disabled. And that hit me too, because I know for a fact I'm not ugly. You know, I'm not ugly. You know, I'm not. You know, I'm not intellectually challenged, or you know, I don't have any type of neurological you know, setbacks or whatnot. And so when he said that, you know, it hit me because it's like I've been that cat, bro. I've been that dude where I'm interested in a girl, and for whatever reason, she doesn't want to date me, and that has nothing to do with my personality. It's more along the lines of she doesn't want to be seen in public with me. I mean, it's like so, and it's really fucked up. You know, when you find out that that's the real reason why. You know, it's really fucked up when you like, damn, I really thought you were solid, but you ain't shit. You know what I mean? Or or they hit me with the friend, you know, with the friend thing, right? And I'm like, yeah, okay, bet. And I'm not saying that the disability plays a role into that, but it's like I can't help but think that. You know, I can't help but think that because it's like, okay, I'm good enough to be a quasi boyfriend, I should say, but not be your boyfriend. You know, and or not, you know, not be dateable. But I'm cool with, you know, phone calls and text messages all the time. Like that, like, and again, I'm not saying that the disability has anything to play into that, but again, I can't help but not think that. Because at the end of the day, it's just something that's gonna be, it's gonna be there, bro. It's gonna be there, you know, to the day that I die, you know, and it's interesting how a lot of people don't know about what cerebral palsy is, and so every every week, you know, during March, and I'm probably going forward, I'll probably do slow some extra too, just to bring more awareness to it too, because I didn't know that it would, you know, that it affects black folks more prevalently than white. You know, I didn't know that, so it kind of made me sit there and think, because I was like, damn, okay, like let me go look up the stats on this. And I mean, like what's the cause, you know, of why this may be happening. And the first things I thought of was, yo, what about food deserts? You know what I mean? Like, what about inadequate, you know, access to healthcare, inadequate access to, you know, prenatal care, you know, pre and post, you know, because getting your monthly checkups or whatever it is extremely important, you know. And I thought about all that shit. I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, you know, there might be some correlation between the two of them, right? And but my goal, man, is to basically just try to spread knowledge and just try to understand, or not try to understand, but try to have people understand that, like, yo, don't look at people with disabilities, you know, especially ones who can take care of themselves, man, because it's like, yo, not to brag or nothing, but you know, I'm basically independent. You know, like I don't look at myself as having a disability. I look at, you know, instead of me saying I have CP, CP's got me. You know what I mean? It's like it's got to do with me. It's got to do with my, you know, my tenacity, my, you know, my drive, and my ability to get things done. Cause everything that I've done, whether it's schooling, music, um, um, sports, believe it or not, you know. And back in the day, a couple of my good friends, you know, they'll tell you like, yeah, like Mike was a decent ball player. Like I wasn't the greatest by any means, but I had a nice little crossover, nice little jump shot. I mean, like I was cool with it. You know what I mean? So and but yeah, man, I think the more you know about something, you know, like the better off you'll be. I'm not saying that I'm an expert by any means, because yo, if I knew what causes CP, whether during, I mean before, during, or after birth, yo, you know, the money I would have would be astronomically huge. So yeah, and I think when you're dealing with something as sensitive as a disability. Because for a long time, bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I did not wanna. I was shy. I was timid. I was not confident. Um, and it had to do with the fact that it was a disability. And my father, God rest his soul, he told me something I'll never forget. He was like, "Yo," he's like, "You sit here and you use his disability as a crutch, not to do nothing." And he's like, "That is the most selfish thing that you can do." And he's like, "Yo, like life is bigger than bigger than the limitations that people put on you, you know, and it's bigger than this. It's bigger than that. It's like he's like he would always say like, yo, stop saying you can't do something because you haven't done anything yet. And I never really was one to get emotional, but it's like I remember crying because it's like, yo, that shit. I mean, not that it hurt, but it was the truth, and I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that from somebody who was gonna be brutally honest with me, and um, even though we never had the best relationship, he that was his way of saying like, yo, go believe in yourself, go get it done. You know what I mean? Like don't don't let life pass you by because you're afraid of what other people may think. Oh, you don't want to or you want to live up to the expectations of what other people have, and what other people have for you, and like it really doesn't matter. And and I gotta credit him a lot because I've taken his mindset and I applied it in a way that that's beneficial towards me, and that's beneficial towards me, and also to the fact that a lot of the times, man, you need that. You need somebody who's gonna keep it, 100 with you. You need somebody who's gonna be, keep it honest with you. And I've learned throughout my years to be more tactful because a lot of the times I'll say things not realizing how untactful the shit sounds, right? And I get in trouble, and I've had somebody recently tell me like, yeah, you know what? Maybe you should learn how to be a little bit more tactful because it's like it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And she's like, a lot of people will take what you say and they'll at face value and not realizing as you trying to be understanding and you trying to be, you know, sympathetic to a point. But the one thing I will never ever do, I'll never sit there and listen to the same situation over and over and over again, man. But anyway, to wrap this up, next week I haven't really thought of a concept for next week yet, but I know it's gonna be more about cerebral palsy. In terms of those two interviews that I said that that we was gonna get it done because we all gonna get it done. I have to write out the questions and I have to email it to my dudes, and right now it's they're both a little busy, you know what I mean? I mean, like, we're all busy, and so those two interviews are gonna have to wait. But I promise y'all, when y'all hear him, and when you guys see it, it's gonna be really, really cool. You know what I mean? So just bear with me. I don't know when we're gonna actually have time to sit down and do an interview, but those questions are, it shouldn't take me that long to to write them up, and we're just gonna hopefully make bring more awareness to not just what I'm doing, but what they're doing as well, because these two cats that I have coming on separately, one of them got his PhD and he's a really good friend of mine, and the other one has 24 years in the military service, right? And so with that being said, man, yeah, hope y'all keeping the 4 P's. Private player, positive pushing. It's about 20 minutes of your life that you won't get back. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and watching, watching each episode. And I'm slowly getting better. Just stick with me. I'll holler at y'all next week. Ghost. Remember, like I always say, know your worth. Peace.